Hey guys, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO, and I want to get this video popped out of here and then take my grandsons to go have some fun. But this is on the IX Global lawsuit just hit. Securities and Exchange Commission filed this complaint just a day ago, actually. And the reason I'm doing this is because it really does impact one of my dear friends, Travis Flaherty, but it impacts the industry in a way, again, that I've been talking about. Kevin Thompson and others have talked about. Mel Atwood's talked about this. You do not mix certain business models with a direct sales network marketing MLM. And when it comes to FOREX, it comes to commodities, it comes to crypto, it comes to stocks, it's just not a good mix. Anything that's got an ROI attached to it or a potential ROI attached to it, it isn't a good mix, because what happens is you make your independent reps become unregistered brokers. That's how the SEC is going to look at it. That's how Travis got tied into this. Travis isn't part of this company's corporate structure. He doesn't know what goes on behind the scenes. Nowhere in this 34-page complaint or the almost 500 pages of supporting documentation does it say anywhere that Travis Flaherty is part of some kind of inner conspiracy, nor any of the other promoters. But what happens is, because he was marketing a digital software license for the debt box, and the SEC has claimed, well, we believe that's an unregistered security. Then what happens is they say, well, we're going to get Travis for selling an unregistered security, making ill-gotten gains, and we're going to fine him for that, and all the other promoters. And I'm picking Travis's name out because Travis is a friend. Travis is somebody that we have broken bread many times. I have flown to Arizona, been with him in summer, watched their kids grow up. I mean, literally watched their kids grow up, get married from the time they were little papooses. Just, he was carrying them on stage. So I've been there. I know him. I know his family. I know I literally have helped and talked to him many hours about moving from one company to another, going into multiple streams, not just staying stuck in the network marketing scene, but going out and doing the Main Street brick and mortar type stuff, because I'm a firm believer that Main Street America isn't just some niche, some marketing channel, but literally you've got to go out there and build something, and you should look at it multiple streams if you're going to leave a legacy for your family. But I don't want to rabbit trail on that. Next week, I'm hoping Kevin Thompson and I will cover this in detail. Because we understand the complexities of doing business in the network marketing community and trying to throw all this other stuff on it. And I just got off a phone call with a blockchain technology and Web 3.0 company, and he's saying, Troy, I've looked at the case, but we're different because we don't take in investors' money. We sell tokens at a discount. Doesn't matter. When somebody's expecting a return on their investment, a return on their asset purchase, I don't care what you call it, then it can be seen as an unregistered security. So that's really why I wanted to cover this. Now, this case here is interesting because for the bulk of the SEC's case to hold water in court, they have to be able to prove their claim of intentional fraud. Now, they use some interesting words in this case. And I thought this was, honestly, this is probably correct. And they keep saying that if the owners or the council didn't do this on purpose, these are going to be my layman's words, then they acted recklessly. They acted in a way that they should have known. And I got to agree with that part of it. If you're going to run any business, you need to understand your business model 100%. But nowhere in this complaint do they say that Travis Flaherty or any of the other promoters were in some kind of conspiracy to defraud. They kind of keep the fraud part at the top end, and the bottom part is where they say, hey, these guys have gotten ill-gotten gains because they took money from investors in selling an unregistered security. Now, obviously, when the SEC took control of this, all the tokens just crashed. Okay, and that's typical. So the SEC, if anybody lost money, then you're gonna have to hard pressed to prove to me that they would have lost money if the SEC hadn't have crashed the company. And that's really what's happened. Had the SEC come in here and said, look, we need to talk with you guys. We see some issues. We want you to explain our business model to us, then you wouldn't have had this issue. And then you could have, and this is a what if scenario. But had that happen, then the SEC, you're going to have to shut the company down. You're going to have to take all the money. You're going to have to pay back those people that haven't made any money yet, and those people that did make money. Well, we're going to have to go and ask them to give the money back. So we're going to file charges against you guys. But thank you for cooperating with us. It's going to go easier on you. And I know that's a simplistic look about this, but to just go in and shut a company down, that's what they did with BK Barreco almost a decade ago. A juice company goes in, guns a-blazing, shuts him down, crumbles the company. And when they're done and the judge says, I don't see any of these charges, then they, and that was the FTC, but then they give him back the shell of his company. So, I mean, this is overreach. This is Gestapo type measures. And most of you guys know I love my country, but man, the government, sometimes these people are bonehead up there. And in this case here, the Securities and Exchange Commission have been going after crypto almost since President Biden and the crew got into office. At least when Geisler took over, his whole thing is, I just don't like crypto. But he's been losing it most of the cases that they keep presenting. So this could be another one of those, may not be. If I read the complaint right, and none of the underlying oil rigs were producing, none of the gas is producing, they weren't using any type of scanning technology to find gold and silver. They have no government contracts for any of this. If the bottling company that's right down the road from us, if it only does a couple $100,000 a year instead of 20 million, if they don't have any type of contracts with Sam's or 7-Eleven or Aldi's or any of that, then there's fraud for sure. But in the interim of this, I don't think it's cool to seize the assets of individuals that have been in the United States since they were born. And in this case, Travis and Summer Flaherty, there's no reason to seize their assets, being out trying to buy groceries for the family, gas for the car, and you find out that your bank accounts have been frozen. Go to the people and talk to them, but don't freeze their assets. It's not like they're going to leave the country. Matter of fact, the best thing to do if you don't want somebody to leave the country is stamp the passport so they can't get on a freaking plane and leave the country. It's that simple. But they don't do that. The SEC comes in like in most countries. And in this country, we the people run this republic. It's not the other way around. So the government works for us. And in this case, the Securities and Exchange Commission is just an agency of Congress. And we need to make sure that Congress is focusing on getting these laws straight and putting these laws together the way they're supposed to be put together, instead of letting the SEC or the CFTC or any regulatory agency run amok by just trying to interpret the law based on what they want to interpret. And it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican, they both do it. And it hurts Main Street America. And in this case, my friends Travis and Summer, who I've known since those kids were in diapers. And now they're grown and having grandkids. So that's how frustrated I am on this. We're going to cover this more in detail. But before you go out there lamb blasting everyone that's in here, and like I said, I don't know the owners. I don't think I know anyone in this complaint except Flaherty. And I'm going to tell you right now, he wouldn't have his family involved in this. He wouldn't have friends involved in this if he honestly thought it was a sham. And like I said, him and I have been on the phone. We've been in text messages. He did his due diligence prior to going in, and I've continued to push him to do due diligence. Every time I saw something that looked a little bit crazy, you sure this is going on? And he would send me stuff sometimes. Say, look, right here's where it's at. I just was with this government official. I just flew over here. I just saw this oil well producing oil. Could all of that have been some gigantic scam? And Travis got caught up in it, just like a lot of people with Bernie Madoff. Sure, could have been. Mathematically, that could happen. But the reality is, most of the time, regulators put together these complaints and they throw everything in the book that they can throw at a person, and then they hope that they get a win out of it. I've got a case that I've been on for 6 years, got settled a couple months ago, where the SEC came in almost identical to this, yelled unregistered security, intentional fraud, Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme. It took 6 years and between the fines and legal fees and everything else, about $50 million to defend. And in the end, the judge ruled an unregistered security, but no fraud, no pyramid, no Ponzi scheme. The dilemma is he also fought to make sure his assets weren't frozen. He paid back everyone in America. He'd done some stuff to show that he wasn't trying to defraud anybody. Most people can't do that because the SEC or the FTC will try to seize the assets, stop them from doing anything. The receiver will make millions and millions of dollars that really should go back, if there's a victim, to the victims. And when that doesn't happen, who is it that loses? Main Street America, the people that actually thought this was something that was going to help their family, and now it isn't. So we need to make sure that if regulators are going to go in and do something, that there's some kind of a process. Go in and talk to people first. You can snap, like I said, the passports. You can do anything, but you don't have to ruin people's lives that really thought they were just in a business opportunity. They were out there trying to raise income, trying to do something good, and had their own money tied up into it. That's something that Travis and I have talked about numerous times. He had his family's money in it. He had his money in it. He was buying. He wasn't like he was out there trying to get other people to do what he wasn't doing. He was one of the first ones. He bought this stuff. He had the licenses, had the box, saw the money that he was making, and then he went out and started talking to everybody else about it. That's the key. So you got to look at I'm going to put this in the notes. We'll put it in the comments so that you guys have it. You can see the complaint. You can see some underlying links I'm putting in so you understand what crypto, understand the actual tokens and how they are working. You'll understand some of the stuff the SEC saying there wasn't mining going on, which is accurate in the way this is, but I think that's probably subjective in the way the words are being used as well, because there are tokens being created. It's just different than BTC. So they wanted to try to come in and use Bitcoin as an example when there's other ways they could have used some other examples that would have made sense, like Ethereum or even more of the projects that are on the Binance blockchain, which is where this is actually setting. So with that being said, guys, stay strong, and we'll see you the next time.